Thank you so much for joining us here at Indigo Moon. You know, bitter, when you taste bitterness, sometimes it can cause, they say it's actually healthy to actually taste bitterness, like a bitter melon. Bitter melon is very good for diabetes, they say. It's very good uh, for balancing, and allowing your stomach to free itself from some of the toxins, they even say. Now, I'm not a doctor nor a dietitian, but I do know a few things. Now, what about when a person feels bitterness? Remember the last time I was around my stepmom and younger brother, they were discussing opening up a family business. But no one wanted to discuss this business venture with me. And I'd asked a few questions, but it was quickly, the subject was changed. I remember my step-grandmother, growing up, she told my stepmother that I should never have to worry about money because of my creativity. Now, I don't know if she realized that there was some jealousy there. Jealousy is a form of bitterness. And you have to be so careful what you share with other people, because sometimes that bitterness can enable us to really love another individual. You see, I realized that there were businesses that were actually becoming businesses, and my name was involved, my Social Security was involved, but I was not involved. You have to be careful with things such as that. When you grow up with people, you don't think that they have the ability to make certain decisions. But when I look back, I have to say that no matter how much love you can give to other people, sometimes they see that and they take advantage of that. Families can sometimes do that because, first of all, they're closest to you, and they will be the last people that you would consider. But the only problem is that we all grew up with the same spiritual advisor who warned us of this very thing. And you wonder, why did he take so much time going over this very subject matter? You could never understand, why is it he took so much time? He talked about how we should keep our thoughts clean because we are contaminating other people with those negative thoughts. And you say, how can I corrupt another individual? Because your energy child, as my great-grandmother would have said, child. We have to look at how we are. I remember many New Year's Eves, I wanted to spend time with the ceremony that they used to have coming into the new year. But my spiritual advisor would say, no, spend time with your stepmother. And he didn't say stepmother, he said spend time with your mother. And I really wanted my stepmother to love me. I'm going to be honest with you. I really wanted to be loved and supported by her. But sometimes internally, when you have so much pain and you've not gotten or reached for the help that you might have needed, maybe going to a psychiatrist or going to get certain help, she faced a lot of depression. I noticed that my father figure chose two women who had a lot of depression. My mother had certain depression too, but her depression wasn't the same when it seemed to come upon her more so when we weren't around. When we were around, spending time with us, having a second childhood, because that's one thing about parenting. You can live your childhood all over again because your children, you have to buy toys for them and you can play with those toys with them. And my mother figure was a lot like that, Ruth. But see, you have to also look at the dynamics of my stepmother, who had her own stepmother by the name of Ruth, and then had her husband have an ex named Ruth. That had to have been a challenge within itself. And if she had reached out for help, maybe she would have gotten the balancing that she needed. We don't get the same help. We don't get the help that we need. What ends up happening is our anger can turn into, or our disappointment can turn into anger. That anger can turn into envy or jealousy of another person. I remember when my father and my stepmother got married, and he bought myself and my stepmother similar dresses, and she was very upset. He'd seen this in a magazine, and he thought, wow, mother and daughter. He was trying to pull us together. I was on board, but my stepmother was not on board. You see, they never had that talk, that discussion of family and how things, what his expectations were, what his needs were. She never told him all the things that she needed, all the things that she wanted. In relationships, you must do that, because you don't know that sometimes you might be falling into a situation that you cannot handle. My step-grandmother, my Gam, realized that early on. This is why she had to talk with my stepmother early on. When she first told us she was getting married, she said, now those are beautiful children, beautiful. But you can barely take care of yourself. Her heart was in pain when she said this to her daughter, because she knew what her daughter might be up against. Children sometimes say things that they don't even realize that they're saying, because they're coming from an honest perspective. And sometimes they don't know, they just know their feelings, they just know their pain. As all of us, sometimes we only know our own pain. We don't know the other person's pain. And my stepmother and I, even when I spent time with her, I would feel certain things, you know. Some of us are empathic people. I believe she was empathic too, or is empathic as well. But see, here's the thing. When you don't pray and think and meditate over something first and early on, what ends up happening is you make decisions that are going to hurt yourself as well as the people who are being affected by it, those around you, those you interact with. And when that happens, your pain can turn into all sorts of things. And that anger that you feel can turn into, I want to do certain things. I want to make certain choices that maybe I should make. Now, if my family were connected with a cult, or were a part of a cult, who knows, then I would already know that certain individuals are going to take certain positions, like signing paperwork and sending that paperwork, should I say manipulating paperwork, on land, on business deals, on even with everyone having a copy, an ID, to go in and cash in on money that did not belong to them, by having an ID, a fake ID made with maybe their picture on it and my information. You see, in the bank, they might not know who the persons are, but one thing's for sure is they can actually take that camera and watch the individuals as they come and go. People don't look at what they're doing when they're hurting another person. They only see their view. And you got to be careful with that, because everything that you do comes back to you in the end. My spiritual advisor continued to warn us over and over again, but I guess a lot of people didn't heed the warning. My younger sister, I tried my hardest not to even mention her, but our relationship was deeply affected because my stepmother's anger or disappointment in having to deal with another daughter. You know, you have to look at everyone in the family, okay? I have an older brother. Some of us, you know, the two of us sometimes butted heads as well. And sometimes there's envy because you're getting the attention that the other person is not getting. Look at the family dynamics. Pray before you make the choice on marrying an individual, because you never know all that is going to entail when it comes to being with this person and growing. Get counseling if you have to. the best thing to do is to seek counsel so that you don't make choices in a family dynamics that are going to hurt or harm another individual, because it's going to be a mirrored image. That mirror reflects your heart and that person's heart. Is your heart in it? Because if your heart is not in it, don't make the choice to be a part of someone's life if you can't invest wholeheartedly. Thank you so much for joining us, Indigo Moon.